welcome to everybody. Let me start introducing what is POLI.design. POLI.design is a company founded by Politecnico di Milano in 1999, and is a private company that operates in the field of design, organizing training programs for graduates and for companies that want to focus on innovation via internal training. Politecnico di Milano is one of the most prestigious scientific and technological university in the world. It's the first in class in Italy. Politecnico di Milano is involved in training engineers, architects, and industrial designers. Politecnico di Milano has been founded in 1863, so it's more than 150 years old. And actually, there are more than 40,000 enrolled students. In Politecnico di Milano, there is the School of Design that is focused on the training of industrial designer students. That is one of the biggest international schools for industrial design, both for number of students and for teachers. And there are mainly product design, communication design, interior design, and fashion design as a bachelor, and also other courses as a master's. In Politecnico di Milano has set up a design system based on three different entities. There is the design department, the School of Design, and the POLI.design that we are speaking about. Politecnico di Milano is rated as first in Italy, third in Europe, and sixth in the world in the QS ranking of this year for art and design field. POLI.design, as I said before, is a private company founded and managed by Politecnico di Milano, and is 20 years old. And he's involved in managing more than 24 specializing master and more than 40 higher education courses. So let me start talking about the first of the two master courses we are speaking today. The first one is the specializing master course in transportation and automobile design. It's what we say to be a first level master. That means that you can attend this master course after a bachelor. Typically, if you are from Politecnico di Milano, could be from a Bachelor of Science, but it could be also from a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. The master grants 60 ECTS, and the degree has been delivered by the Politecnico di Milano University. The master in transportation automobile design already ran 11 editions and more than 150 students along the years. The faculty of this master is based on both academics, teachers, and professionals, because of course a master course, a specialized master course, is more focused on being a professional path for students attending it. So there are more academics teachers in some didactical modules based on theories and methods, but then there are much more teachers coming from the professional area for tools and techniques courses, and for the design courses of the master. Until now, the students came from really all over the world, mainly from Italy, because until 2 years ago, the master was run in Italian language. And so for this reason, of course, there has been a majority of Italian students. Since a couple of years now, we switched teaching in English. And so also the non-Italian students are growing quickly. And you can see in this diagram the geographical area of the students and also the placement of the students. So the majority found a placement in the automotive market, some other in motorcycle market, because there isn't any specific course in motorcycle design, and so the company involved in motorcycle manufacturing are selecting students from transportation courses, and some others in industrial design. This is a quick overview about what has been done last year during the master course. The title track of the master degree discussion was Cars Back to the Future, and it was a design involved in thinking how could be cars in the future far 40, 50 years. So you can see some of the results. These were the physical model exhibited at the end of the course. Every year at the end of the course, there is an exhibition that is set up and that stay open 1 month for giving to the companies interested in selecting students to visit the exhibition and to talk with the students. This is a picture of the exhibition. And this is one of the 4 projects that has been done last year. Every project usually is being developed in small group of students, because one of the key elements for us is also to train students to work as a team, because all the transportation design projects are team projects. And so it's important also to learn how to work in a teamwork. This was another one, mobility for cities in 2077. This has been imagined, placed in a city where the space is very reduced, and so the needs to save space for parking. And you can see that the basic idea of this group of students was to have the opportunity to park the cars vertically instead of the standard horizontal placement. This was another project for a wildlife outside the cities during the weekend. And this was a project for 2050 for downtown, a space that is able to move autonomous, but at the same time a place for meeting friends, for meeting other people, and for having a convivial situation. As I said before, we are actually running the 11th edition. So last year we realized also a small exhibition celebrating the 10 years of this master, and we exposed different projects developed along the years by the students that was involved in this project. And this was once again a couple of pictures of this second exhibition. Actually, some of the students are also in sprouted all over the world, also in big companies. There are students that actually are working in Jaguar Motors, in Hyundai Motors, inside the Volkswagen Group. We ran the master for some years in collaboration with Volkswagen Group, and so there are some students all over the world. That's all. So please, Andrea.
Just a moment, we are setting the screen. In the while, good morning, everybody. I'm Andrea Ratti, Director of the Specialized Master in Yacht Design. So another field of application of design, even if I don't know if you noticed that in one of the slides that Professor Brevi showed to you, there was a car sailing, so probably not so far the field of application. And I think that this is a first consideration that we can put, because taking part to a POLI.design master means for sure going deeper in a specialization path, but even taking part to an opportunity that is having the possibility to share knowledge between the different offer that POLI.design deal about. And so this is a typical opportunity that is not related to one master or another one, but is make an experience that can upgrade your skills and your professional knowledge. Talking more deeply about what the master in Yacht Design is, I can say that till now we manage 18 edition. The 18th edition is under course. People are now attending their experience in internship. That means 18 editions are a very long period of time. More than 400 people we had. And that means that most of these people are now working in the yachts field, in shipyard, in studios, and so on. The idea behind the master is to have the possibility to give to participants all the knowledge and the methodological approach that can allow you to manage the design process. That means catching an idea, a new idea, but combine a lot of knowledge needed to manage this, let's say, strange object that is a yacht, because you all are aware about that we are talking about a living space from one side, but even a transportation systems. And so this need to combine the capability to manage at the same time principle of naval architecture. That means how a boat can stay still on the water, can move, how could be balanced, but at the same time how we can express new approach in a styling of a living space that can take references from many fields. So these are the learning modules that you will be involved in. That means a great variety of field of interest which are combined in a period of 6 months of theoretical activity, and after this period there's a professional experience in a shipyard, in a company, or in a studio. We deal about the design of both motor yachts and sailing yacht, even if the market is more focused in terms of quantity, is closer to the field of motor yacht, but we believe, and this is our vision since the beginning of the first edition of the master, to deal about the design of sailing boat, because we are talking about 10% if we evaluate these in terms of number in the market. But we believe that there's a great capability, a great sensibility that is required in design a sailing yacht that has a great importance to control the balance of the yacht, and we believe that this is very useful. This kind of sensibility and skills are very useful even to drive to the design of a motor yacht. This kind of sensibility in order to being able to manage the whole process, but even to say something new, something innovative in this field. So during the two workshops, the participants are asked to manage with small groups the design of a sailing boat and motor yacht. Any years we define what's the dimension of the yacht, the typology, and so on. And so you are asked to compare yourself with something that could be a real demand of the market, or of a commitment that could be a shipyard or an hypothetical owner of the yacht. To do that, I mean to compress all these kind of information. We try to manage during this period several kind of activities. That is, for example, the possibility to use our laboratories, where we can have a direct experience of what does it mean build a yacht. So have a direct experience of technologies or innovative technologies applied, and that means having the possibility to better understand the theoretical effort that we can deal in the classroom, and at the same time having the possibility to use several other experiences, starting, for example, for a sailing experience. That means having the possibility to understand what does it mean use this kind of living space that moves on the water, in the air, that could have an engine propulsion or a sail propulsion, so the boat could heel, and at the same time you have to manage all the living function on board, and that means that you have to be aware of that when you are designing this kind of living space. In many activities managed together with the shipyard we manage this through a visit of different kind of shipyard, because making a boat means several things, but there are different ways and different technology to do that. Different dimension of yacht means a different process in technology and in managing the different problems that these could create. And so you will have different opportunities to visit different kind of shipyard. This is a graph of the composition of the class. We had Like that, we start 18 years ago, and the request was coming from in the market, and the master was held in Italian. And after that, since the last 6 years, we switched to English because the demand coming from abroad was increasing. And now we have the last class, there are around 70–80% composed by people coming from foreign countries, and as you can see in this slide, from all over the world. Any years we receive new requests from different countries, and this is, we believe, a great opportunity for the people who take part, because there's a natural opportunity to exchange experience, different way of approaching design, have a vision on what could be considered new in yacht design. And so this is something that can add, that can give an adding value to the content of the master. Another topic is the composition of the classroom. We try, when we manage the selection activity, to balance the skills, the incoming skills of the students. And this is a typical composition of the class. That means that we have, but we want to have engineer, designer, and architects, because these can allow us to work in a small group design team, which can simulate the typical professional activity that you will have the opportunity to manage. At the end of the theoretical teaching activities, we manage an internship. That is the last experience you will be involved in. This means to make a cross between the demand coming from the shipyard, mainly could be shipyard involved in production of motor yacht or sailing boat, or even suppliers of the shipyard, or design studio who works in different field of application and in different countries. Is typical that people who come here to attend the master have in Italy an experience, for example, in shipyard. Italy is leader all over the world in the production of big yacht, and so this is a very good opportunity for the people who attend the master here. But at the end, after this experience, they can or they often desire to transfer this experience in their own countries or in other countries. Last slide, we titled "We Build Talents," and we are very proud about the last results that we obtained over the last years in obtaining awards of our students who took part to different international competition of design. And these are just the last where they had a good result. They won the prize. And so we believe that all these could be, from one side, a result that show the effectiveness of the path that we are dealing about, but even an opportunity to show the capabilities of this young professional. And so we think that all this is part of being part of a POLI.design master. I think that now there will be some technical information. So Elisa of the training office will manage this kind of information, and after that will have the opportunity to exchange any kind of request.
Hi everyone, it's Elisa from POLI.design staff, and I'm here to recap a little bit the, let's say, bureaucracy and technical part about the master, the two masters. And we start from the specializing master in transportation and automobile design. Mainly here you may find some technical characteristics, and in particular, as the professor was mentioning, the master is going to start in the next year, in mid-March 2020, and the duration is for 14 months. So it's going to start to finish at the end of May 2021. And mainly in this period, you will have the theory classes, the workshops, and the individual work that you will be required to develop in order to attend, let's say, and give consequentiality to the workshops that you are having at the master in class. Mainly, both the two masters are going to be taught in English. They started in both cases in Italian in the very past editions, but now the language is English. In particular, you are required to know English at least at a good level in order to take part in the master, even though it is also suggested for your personal life, let's say, to learn also a little bit of Italian before starting the master. Mainly because the venue is POLI.design of all the classes, and mainly all the classes are going to be focused, let's say, as main venue in Milan. So at the end of this period of time, you are going to, of course, to have a final exam for the master, and it will award you a specializing master of first level in transportation and automobile design, granting you 60 ACTS that are the European credits, the credits that are recognized in the European system. The cost for this master is 14,500 euro. Mainly, if you wish to apply for the master itself, you may see here which are the documents that are required for the selection. Mainly, they need to be sent by email to formazione@polidesign.net within February the 28th, 2020. In particular, let's say, for candidates having either Italian or European citizenship, or having at least a degree achieved in Italy or in Europe. For non-European students or candidates having a degree achieved abroad, we generally suggest to, let's say, anticipate this deadline to of around 1 month. So let's say to January the 28th, 2020, because the documents that you might be required in case you are selected for the master to take part in the master, that is the visa and the declaration of value, might take some time to be achieved. That's why we generally suggest in general to all students not to wait until the very last deadline to apply. And mainly the documents that are required in this case are the application format, the CV, a portfolio of projects and sketches, a copy of your identity document, either identity card or passport, and a scanning of your degree and of your university transcript. Because, of course, the Master Board will have a selection and evaluation based mainly on your CV and portfolio, but we will have also to check the validity of your degree in order to be enrolled in a specializing Master of First Level. So we will need to let's say, check the validity of your bachelor degree or degree that you have, academic diploma, if you have an academic diploma. Mainly for this master, there is a limit in the number of places, that is 20. So also in this case, we suggest not to wait until the very last deadline, because the selection and the application by the students are processed according to the chronological order. So mainly the selections are currently open and have been open for both of the masters from some time. So we suggest not to wait until the very last deadline. So now let's go also to the specializing master in Yacht Design. That is as well a first level specializing master, lasting 1 year in this case, starting in the beginning of February 2020 and ending in the end of February 2024. Also in this case, we have a program dealing with being composed by theory classes, workshop, and individual work, and at the end having also an internship that is included in this period of time of 1 year. The total cost in this case is 13,000 euro. The language is English also in this case, and the main venue is POLI.design, and the classes are taking place mainly in Milan also in this case. And at the end of the master as well, you are going to have a final exam also in this case, in order to be awarded the first level specializing master degree in Yacht Design, and the connected 60 credits that are the credits in the system, in the European system. In this case, the last deadline to apply is January the 10th, 2020. And also in this case, we suggest for people with non-European citizenship or foreign degrees achieved mainly outside Europe to apply within December the 10th, 2019, because also in this case, in case you would be selected for the master, you will be required to get a visa, the declaration of value, and let's say some technical documents that are generally issued by the Italian embassy in your country that might take some time to be got. So that's why in general we suggest not to wait until the last moment. Also in this case, the evaluation is made on 2 levels by the master board on the basis of your CV and portfolio, and from the point of view of the study title, again, we will need to receive, of course, a scanning of your identity document, either ID or passport, a scanning of your degree, and a scanning of your transcript, because also in this case, the proper office by Politecnico di Milano will need to check the validity of your study title in order to be enrolled in this master. In this case, the maximum amount of students that are allowed to the class is 30. And also in this case, the selection have already been open for a period, so we suggest you to hurry up in applying for this master as well. In case you have, of course, further information that are required, you can get in touch with our training office, with me mainly, and you may find here my phone number and the email account, formazione@polidesign.net, that is a common, let's say, email account that I use, and also other colleagues from the office use. So you will receive for sure in a short time the information that you require. Here you may find as well the links to both of the masters, and in particular on the web page of POLI.design for the Master in Transportation and Automobile Design, and for the Master in Yacht Design, you will find all the specific details, including also, let's say, witnesses by other students, and details about the specific contents, the projects that have been done in the past years by the students, and a gallery of the projects that both Professor Brevi and Professor Ratti have shown. So I guess that's more or less everything I needed to explain.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elisa. And I also want to thank our speakers, Professor Brevi and Professor Ratti. Also our participants that have joined us from all over the world. Two things before we start with the questions. For those who are asking for the presentation, don't worry. We will send the presentation in the following days. You will receive them in your mailbox. It should be tomorrow or Thursday, so you will get these slides. Also, for the questions, please submit everything that you want to know using the questions and answers section, okay? I think we should start, and I would like to clear something up for the students that are not from Europe, Elisa. Yes. Some of them have asked if you could explain about CFU, Credito Formativo Universitario, and the transfer system, ECTS.
Yes, mainly the ECTS are the credits that are awarded in general in Europe by all the universities in Europe that apply the European system, and mainly there is a number of credits that are awarded for each type of university path. For example, for the bachelor degree, it's 180 because it's on the basis, let's say, of the length, and each credit is awarded on the basis of the amount of hours that each student has during the period. So, for example, for the bachelor, it's 180 in general. For the specializing master lasting 1 year or 14 months is 60 credits. So there are credits that are recognized in the European system and in all the countries that recognize or apply the European system.
Okay, I hope this is clear for Juan Carlos and Jefferson. Let me know if you still have doubts about this. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so we can move on. We have a question about the internships during the specializing masters. Are those internships paid?
Well, according to the Italian laws, let's say that those that are curricular internship, internships that are done as a student, according to the Italian law, mainly companies and studios are not obliged to pay students for the period of internship, since it is a part of the training, meaning that it is a part of the period of activity that you have, and mainly they are aimed at completing an education period that they have started. So mainly it's a way to put into practice the theory that they have achieved during the master path. On the other hand, there are also internships that are extracurricular internship. That is, they are managed outside of the master, mainly after having achieved the master, just like, for example, it's the case of the master in transportation. After having achieved the master, also the career service of Politecnico can manage and activate extracurricular internships. Since they are outside of the master path, in that case, companies are supposed to pay an amount to give a salary to the graduate who has the internship there. Mainly, that doesn't mean that curricular internships are always not paid, whereas extracurricular are. In many cases, companies or studios decide also to give a small amount, reimbursement, some refund of the expenses that students have. And so in some cases, also for curricular internship, company decide to give something, let's say, even though they are not obliged by the law to do so.
There are also some company who has a policy in for managing the internship, and so they define a budget for the internship. But I have to say, most of the internship are not paid.
Okay, thank you very much. We can move on to the next question. Let me see. So this course is in English. You don't have to have prior knowledge of Italian, correct?
Not for attending the courses. It's suggested for the private life of the students outside Politecnico.
And I can add that for what concern Yacht Design, these could be useful, especially if people are interested in having an experience in an Italian shipyard during the internship period, because for sure in a technical office, English could be the main language spoken, but having the possibility to interact with workers in a shipyard require a basic knowledge of Italian. For sure, the period of the master could be a good period to use even to improve the Italian language capabilities.
Let me add also a sort of personal suggestion about the language, because I think that students that would like to come in Italy for attending courses of industrial design probably are very interested in the Italian way to design and to Italian design. But Italian design is something that is in the background of the Italian culture, and so a basic knowledge of Italian language could be helpful for understanding in a better way the Italian culture.
Okay, makes sense. Let's move on to the next question, which is, actually, I would like to ask two things in the same question. Can we talk about accommodation for the students? And also if POLI.design offers any type of scholarships?
Allora, mainly, as for...
sorry, Elisa, can you come a little closer to the microphone?
Sure. Mainly, as for the accommodation, can you hear me now? Okay. Mainly, as for the accommodation, mainly Politecnico has some residencies that are managed by Politecnico and can be accessed also by students of the specializing master. So I can tell you there is a specific website to which students can refer, that is www.residenze.polimi.it. Okay, I'm telling it now, but of course, if someone will need to check it and so on, we will send the link directly so that it is easier. Mainly in that website, all the residencies by Politecnico and having cooperations with Politecnico are listed, and so mainly there they may check all the type of availability in terms of single rooms or shared rooms and so on at the residence. It is also true that many students prefer to book, let's say, for a short period, a temporary accommodation for the very beginning of the master, and then to share a room or a flat, maybe with some students, other students of the master, or other students at POLI.design, also in terms of exchange, also from the personal point of view. And so mainly these are the two main opportunities that are generally chosen by students. As for the residencies, there is this website, and on the other end, as for the research for other type of accommodation, we can also suggest some other, let's say, website or details that can be useful for the students. On the other hand, as for scholarship, mainly there are no scholarship for these two masters. Mainly there was a call for the master in Yacht Design, but you will see in the website that at the moment it has already been closed because the deadline to apply was October the 15th, so it has already expired. But mainly also in this case, if they are in need for let's say some suggestion about these topics, they can also get in touch by email, because there are some also governmental scholarship that can be suggested that are offered by governments or foreign bodies, or also in some cases also by Italian regions or governmental bodies. So every, let's say, for this question, we can provide also specific information to according to the type of need of each candidate. Also because also for this type of scholarship, also the Ministry of External Affairs, the Italian Ministry of External Affairs offers some type of scholarship, and in this case the main reference is the Italian embassy in the country in which students are living or from which they come. So mainly that is also another opportunity.
Okay, understood. And for our participants, please don't get desperate about the emails and everything that we are giving you as information here, because you will receive everything in your email in the following days. I think this should be answered by the professors. We have mostly engineering background for our participants. So they would like to know if you have any advice regarding the portfolio.
For the presentation, you mean?
Yes, when they have to present the portfolio, do you have any tips, specific formats, specific images?
No, nothing about the format, because I believe that the format is a freedom of expression, and so it's part of the portfolio. So this is the first thing. In addition to that, I imagine that designer could have a portfolio of their preliminary experiences in design in different fields, and it could be useful to exchange because some capability are inside the results of the previous experience. So this could be useful for us and is an adding element to the discussion that we can have during an interview. For what concern engineer, probably is not a common use of a portfolio, but is collecting their preliminary experience both in let's say previous teaching activity, but even professional activity if there are. As I said before, we are looking for people who have different preliminary experiences, because this is part of the vision in the best way of collecting a classroom who can work in the master, and this is what is expected by the market at the end of the market. So we select according to different criteria people who hasn't naturally a common background, and this is what we are looking for.
And for the transportation design master, the request for everybody is to send a portfolio, which format is free, doesn't matter, is something that everybody could decide by himself. About the content, we would like to see and to understand the ability and the basic knowledge of every candidate to represent a shape, a complex shape like a car have. And so if they don't have any specific project that is normal, simply please send us some drawing of vehicles, some cars, also not cars, also space shuttle or trains or vehicles, generally speaking, just for understanding their capacity to represent a shape of a vehicle.
Okay, understood. Professor Brevi, we have a question here. One of our participants has asked you if you can tell us about a project of a former student that caught your attention. Can you give an example?
Well, some of the projects were what I showed before, but anyway, let me say that everyone is involved in developing some small projects during the period of the masters, and then everybody are involved in a big project that it will become the project that they will present as a degree project at the end of the master. And this is the key line of every project could be different year by year. Often is something managed in collaboration with external companies that could ask us or we coordinate with them about this. In the last years, we managed a project about electrical vehicles on a different range of distance. So electrical vehicle for moving inside a urban space, but also electrical vehicles for long distances. That is one of the major problems for electrical vehicles today. Or, for example, last year there was a project for creating a vehicle that was able to run on the standard street, but also on water, supposing that in the next future, because of the global warming, a lot of cities based on a countryside on the seaside could have water coming inside the street. So there is a lot of, it's difficult to say all the projects are these every year. Every year there is a main idea that is a common main idea for every project. But this main idea change year by year, and inside of that main idea, we push students for having a very different projects.
Okay, I hope this was useful for those interested in transportation and automobile design. However, for those that are seeking an opportunity in yacht design, Professor Ratti, I have a question from Javad concerning emerging approach to digital fabrication and rapid prototyping. How much is POLI.design concerned with digital methods, mostly 3D printers and CNC machinery?
Well, I think that this is a field in which in the future we will see the greatest development of not only technology but effect on design. We are dealing research activities in this field as Polytechnico in general, and in the field of design. We have different colleagues who are working on these topics. We just finished last month a PhD activity who is managed by the person who managed the master as well in this field. That means the effect on new technology, additive manufacturing, and so on, and Industry 4.0 on the principle, design principles. For sure, these will have an effect even in the teaching activities, but I have to say that this couldn't be a focus in the teaching path, because we need to transfer a lot of knowledge in methodological approach of design and technology that are still used and will be used even in the future for producing the yacht. Probably somebody of you saw a video on the web in the production of a small motor yacht in 3D printing, but I can assure that this is a demonstration of technology and not a demonstration of knowledge on how this technology affects actually the design process. Anyway, besides the teaching activity in the master, there are always a lot of events in terms of convention in which we can go deeper in discussion on these kind of items. For example, on November 26, we held the 4th edition of the Italian Yacht Design Conference. That is a meeting in which take part designer, entrepreneurship of the yacht field, and journalists and many other people involved in the process of designing and building yachts. So this could be a good opportunity also to stay in touch with the discussion that is part of the development of design approach in design in general and in the yacht as well.
Okay. We are almost done. Elisa, the last question is for you. Okay. Very quick. Are there any other fees like registration, application fees that the students should know?
No. That's the whole amount, and mainly there are no selection fees. So the first part, let's say, of the selection is completely free of charge. So you can feel free to send the selection documents, and at the end of the selection process, we are going to provide you the official feedback, and only at that time, in order to confirm your place in the class, you will be required to give a part of the amount that is required to for each master to fix your place in the class. So there are no registration fees to be paid before the selection.
Okay, you have your answer, Nelly. No other fees, and that's it. We have answered everything. I want to thank our speakers, the professors, Professor Andrea Ratti and Professor Fausto Brevi. They are the directors of these specializing masters. Do you have any other tips, guidance for possible students of these masters?
See you in Milan.
We are waiting for you.
Great. Thank you also to Elisa. She's from the student office. Remember, everyone, you will receive an email in the following days with the contacts, with all the information that you need to apply, to check the details of the masters. Let me know what you think of this presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed it. It was a partnership between Doxity and POLI.design. I wish you a good afternoon if you're connecting from Latin America, and a good evening if you're here in Europe or in other countries. See you next time. Thank you, everyone, and bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.